Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and for today's video, I thought I would start a training series with my two new baby rats here. So these girls are just under 6 weeks old, and I am going to be starting some training with them. And they're pretty confident little rats, so this should be pretty good. I did want to do this back when I had S'more as a baby and her late sister Mocha. However, unfortunately, they were a bit too skittish for that to really work out. So I am going to be redoing that, but with these little girls right here. So we're going to start by training the lure. And a lure is when you have an animal follow a piece of food or treat or just something that they really want. In this case, we are training them to follow a food lure. Now you might think that rats or any animal would naturally know how to do that. And they do to some extent, but the problem is if you don't train it as its own behavior, they can get frustrated when you keep moving the food away from them. So in order to prevent any frustration, you want to teach it as its own behavior. And you'll notice at first, rats are very distracted when you start out training. They'll be running off, running back, and you just have to kind of get used to it. After they learn a few tricks, they will definitely stay around for the entire training session, but until then, you just kind of have to get used to them running off and just starting up training whenever they come back. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start by training a lure. So you want to start by having something that they can just lick or eat as you're moving them forwards, and then you let them walk forwards as they're licking it. And then after they have proven that they can do that, you want to start holding it in front of them for a step or two, and then you want to gradually increase that. So a few steps at a time, just gradually increase how much they're walking. There you go. You're so cute. Oh, it's down here. It's down here, little boop. There you go. And then gradually increase the length until they're walking around 5 to 10 steps. And again, they will probably run off a little bit at first because, well, they're just new to this. It's a new thing for them, so they don't really know how you want them to act yet. Now, once they're good at following the lure, now you can use the lure to teach something. So in this case, if I wanted to teach spin, which I do because it's one of the first tricks I like to train, I would go ahead and lure them in a circle and then reward them. So, baby. I lost my babies! I lost my babies! So if I wanted to teach spin, I'd start by just luring them in a circle and giving them the treat. And the main reason you want to teach the lure first in the case of something like spin, like I said, frustration, but you also have the fact that they will be focused less on just, getting the food. They'll actually be able to follow it around without just trying to lunge for the food or grab it. Sometimes you'll see rats will latch onto the food and kind of fall backwards as you're trying to turn them around if you don't teach the lure first. So I would definitely recommend teaching the lure first. And if you have a rat that's having trouble learning spin, definitely go back and teach the lure. It's going to be so helpful to you. But yeah, with spin, you just need to lure them in a circle over and over. These girls are doing great with that, so it shouldn't take too long for them to learn it. Each time you want to speed it up. You don't want to stagnate. You can see there she kind of did the last part of the spin by herself. That is ideal. You don't want them to get stuck on following the lure. That is a problem a lot of people will have. That's a problem I used to have a lot with spin because if they get stuck following the lure, it's pretty hard to get them unstuck. Or I shouldn't say it's hard so much as it's just a habit, so you have to get rid of an old habit, make a new habit, and that's always a little bit more difficult than if you're starting out with a clean slate and they haven't had any experience with the behavior before. So I'm going to go ahead and keep teaching spin whenever my little trainees come back. Hello guys! You can see this is one of the problems with filming one of these sessions. Can you spin? No? Oh, good job! But yeah, one of the problems with filming with little babies is they will tend to run off. And not just little babies, honestly, any rats that are new to training. Sometimes I get asked the question of, is there an ideal age to train? Is there an age when they will be more naturally focused? And the thing is, they really only get more focused as they gain experience. So it doesn't really matter when you start training so much as how long you've been training, because it will get easier with time. And of course, some rats are just naturally a little bit more focused, a little bit more confident, and that helps a lot too. Hey, go, baby. You want this treat? Oh, can you spin? Oh, good job. She's so cute. Oh, it's been working on spin too, right? Good job. Oh, very, very cute. These guys are so precious. Oh, and now, you wanna come over here? Oh, I got a big one. Look at that. Look at this big one. Come here. You spin? This way? Oh, good job. That was very good. Baby, oops. Let's give your sister a turn. Hi, Olive. Olive's like, nope. Wanna try again? Okay, come here. Can you spin? Good job! Oh my god, I used the clicker. I haven't even conditioned the clicker yet, and I'm holding it because I'm so used to using it when training with Bean. Bean is just staring at me because she is not pleased right now. Good job. Little Olive has figured it out. Good job, Olive. But yeah, during this first session, I usually just work on the lure. I'll work on rewarding them whenever they come up to me. And I sometimes also work on paw. So you can work on paw by luring them up, and you put one finger under their paw, or one of their paws, and then you give them the treat as soon as their paw's on it. So she's already picking it up. Just took one repetition, really. Honestly, paw is one of the easiest tricks, probably the easiest trick you could teach. So you can see she picked that up really quickly. It took no time at all. And yeah, paw is probably one of my favorite tricks to teach first, just because it's so easy for them to get down. It's a very natural behavior for them. You can think of rats pressing a lever, but I mean, honestly, they just use their hands a lot. So it's pretty natural for them to put a paw on something that's offered. And she's like, I haven't been taught that yet. Okay, there you go. Very nice. Here, come here, come here. You spin? Spin? Good job. And just note that when I say spin out loud, it doesn't mean anything to them. I'm just working on a hand signal right now. Usually I just keep it at a hand signal. So this isn't really, so my talking doesn't really mean anything to them. That's why I can just blabber away right here. It's not going to affect them at all. And it just kind of gets them used to me talking during training, which I will be doing sometimes. And sometimes you'll see them offer little spins like she just did. In the beginning you can reward that, but you don't want to reward that too many times, because what can happen is that they won't want to do any other behavior because they think, if I spin, then I get the treat. Why should I try anything else? And you want them to only be spinning on cue. You want to get it on what's called stimulus control. So you want to be able to cue it, and you want them to not do it when you don't cue it. And obviously if they do it when they're playing and stuff like that, that's just fine. But you don't want them to come up to you and just start spinning over and over again. I see some people say that the rats do this, and if your rats do this, it's completely fine. If you want to train something else, all you have to do is stop rewarding the spins that happen off cue and work something else that is very different from spin, and they'll quickly learn that the only time they're getting rewarded is when they do the spin on cue. Would you like to do a spin? Yes, you would. Good job. This is adorable, and I really love when they sit out and eat like this. Oftentimes you won't see this until they are a little bit more confident, although something startled her, which is why I like to use a liquid treat a lot in the beginning, because it teaches them to stay out with you. I don't really mind with these guys. I know they're very confident, so I'm not really worried about them learning any bad habits. Also on top of that, you can just really tempt them a little bit more with liquid treats a lot of times, although in this case they are more fans of these Gerber Puff treats, so I'm just breaking them up into a lot of small pieces like this, and then giving those to them. So another fun trick you can teach, this is Olive here, so she already figured out the other two tricks, is back up. You just take a treat, you put your hands over their head, and when they back out like that, you give them a treat right away. So wait till they back out. It might take a while for some rats, and then you give them the treat. And you want to move it towards them so that they aren't walking forwards after backing up, because that does not help with this trick. See, she already figured it out. So this trick is a really fun one. I think backup looks really impressive because it's like, how do you teach that trick? But it's actually really easy to teach it, so it's one of those really nice tricks because of that. And it's also very useful for other tricks. You can use it for wall handstands or backwards weaves, just so many different things. Oh, good job. And each time you want to move your hand a little bit down their back until they are backing up fully. You can see this kind of gives them a goal. I know. Although I do recommend not training this with skittish rats because, well, it can give them the wrong idea. Although you also have to be careful, because if they start doing what you just saw there, you don't want to reward them because that's kind of skittering out sideways. You don't want that. And that's just because she doesn't know what I want yet, and she's kind of figuring it out. Anyways, there's a lot of waiting that goes on during training at first, and so I typically just watch a movie or something like that. I know that sounds really, I guess, not focused, but I promise that it's kind of just a activity that I can do without thinking too hard, especially when starting out. When I'm working on a more difficult trick, then I will likely stop the movie for a bit so I can really think out how I want to train it. But if it's something I've trained a lot, or if it's just these simple, easy behaviors, then I'm not too worried because, you know, there's not really a big way to mess up here. You just work on some simple behaviors, and they will slowly start to improve. And once they start to pay attention more, then you really move on to the more complex tricks, and that's when you need to work a little bit harder. And she runs off. But that's when you need to work a little bit harder on communicating exactly what you want. Oh, and I guess I should also answer the question of the clicker. I did mention it earlier. I don't typically clicker train my rats until they have down 5 easy tricks, and that's just because I find that they make the connection between click and treat much faster if they have already learned a few simple tricks, and it's also much easier to tell because I can cue them to do a simple trick and then click, and if they respond to that, then I know, okay, yeah, they know exactly what the click means. And also clicking them after doing a trick that they know reinforces the meaning that, oh, you did something good and now you're going to be rewarded. So yeah, it's just a nice way to speed up clicker training, at least in my experience. You don't have to do it that way, but that's just kind of how I do it. There you go. Very smart. Very, very smart. Oh, and I also want to mention that usually I wouldn't have 2 rats out, but when you start training, it's fine to have, 2 rats out or as many as you want, just because that helps to give them a little bit more motivation to come and interact with you. And later on, when they have really gotten the idea of training down, I'd say after you have trained the lure at least, then you can start switching to single sessions, although typically I train the first few tricks while they're all just running around. It's pretty easy when it's just the 2 babies running around, like right now. I have all my older rats put in the top cage, and it's sectioned off so they can't come down, so they're not very pleased with me, but they will get their turn. Okay, so I'm going to end the session here. You can see they're pretty much done with eating and stuff like that. It was a very good spin, little Olive. So I'm just going to end this right now. You don't really want to do these sessions for too long. I will continue to work with them whenever they come up to me, and that's pretty much how these first few sessions will go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do plan to make this a series, and hopefully you will enjoy seeing the new girls learn all their tricks. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a good day. Bye!